Right, so I'm just going to tell you a bit about the ELIH-Med project that we're working on. Just to clarify, the whole idea of doing this presentation together was that both projects, the MARIE project and the ELIH-Med project, are funded through the same program, the MED program. And very often, and rightly so, the European Commission expresses the wish that projects with a similar theme will work together so that there'll be more coordination between what is happening, and even especially in terms of what they refer to as capitalisation, which is exploiting of the results of the projects. There will be a joint effort because you're much more likely to get something usable in that way rather than each project coming up with its own set of recommendations. ELIH-Med is all about improving energy efficiency in low-income households in the Mediterranean. There are 19 partners from 7 countries. You can, I'm sure you're capable of reading them yourself. And one thing which is a bit unusual that we have in this project is that we have there's a substantial amount of financing for actually carrying out a pilot study in 35 households. So in Malta, the other partners have larger numbers in correspondence to the larger physical size. 35 households. We have how much do we have? €250,000 for that. So we're looking at investing about €7,000 in each household. Okay, and the reason for focusing on low-income households, actually there's a very good rationale for that. And it is that, first of all, they make up a very substantial proportion of the total number of households in Europe. And very often these households have very poor structural quality, very poor insulation. They tend to have very antique technology. So again, that would be very inefficient because more modern technologies are always becoming more efficient. And also they're what they refer to here as far too hard to reach because since they are low-income households, a lot of the government incentives promoting PVs and solar water heaters, etc., and other technologies are beyond their financial means because these are people with very little disposable income, and what they wouldn't even conceive of spending €3,000 on a PV system. They just don't have the money. So the project is looking at 2 things: what sort of interventions and technologies would provide a useful result in terms of increasing energy efficiency, how much, and our targets overall is to achieve increases in energy efficiency or reductions in consumption of 30%. And what sort of policies you have to put in place, what financial mechanisms you have to put in place to encourage such low-income households to actually apply for the schemes. All right. So back to the capitalization, the common capitalization, as I said, more or less in other words, is that the 2 projects, and in some countries there's a 3rd project. I forget what it's called. I don't know whether you remember, but I know that there's another related project. But we don't have a Maltese partner for that. So we're all putting our heads together and trying to come up with a common set of recommendations. Okay, and this will take the form of a policy paper. The policy paper has already been drafted. It includes about 14 key recommendations. And the idea is to present that eventually to the authorities. So the MARIE and ELIH-Med projects representing 41 partners who have worked on a related theme but from different perspectives. And there are, okay, 3 main categories of recommendations, which are the following. 1, reinforce coordination between the MED program and the rest of the EU programs, because this is a common criticism of EU funding programs, that the left hand is not, I won't say it doesn't know what the right hand is doing, but not exactly sure anyway. So you do get some duplication over there. And there's a failure to make the most of the results. And then to facilitate the progressive implementation of the 14 strategic, detailed lines of action to the, 49 regions and 1,940 cities in the MED area. And then finally to promote coordination among the different member states, regions and cities, etc., to enable the successful implementation of policy actions. Okay, well, as usual, something has to be backed up with some impressive figures. You can never be sure how they calculate these, but somebody calculated anyway that if the policy recommendations made in the policy paper are implemented in full, it will lead to the creation of 1.5 million new jobs.
In Europe, in the whole of
Europe. In Europe, an investment of 95 billion euros and an increase of 20% overall, if it is taken up to, well, to a very good extent. I'm not sure exactly what, but it could lead to an increase of 20% in the energy efficiency of Mediterranean buildings. And that's it, I think, yeah.
Basically, just to add, I think those figures are quite high. In any way, to have a positive effect. We have already started working together. MARIE and ELIH-Med, by common meetings where we are discussing this policy paper. It's quite thick document. We are trying to improve it. We are placing our comments there. Once we have the final version, we'll disseminate it around, and mostly we'll have meetings and try to give it to MRA, because they're the responsible body for Malta. Then, at the European level, the lead partners of the projects will try to establish contacts with the European Commission, and the result should be improved energy efficiency directive, which then will, of course, have an impact on national level.